Alan.
Are we? Oh, Robby. You're not. I wasn't quite ready. You're not supposed to come to the chat yet. This is such a pleasant surprise. How are you, Robby?
Alan, what are you thinking about right now?
What am I thinking about?
Yeah, what are you thinking about?
Well, there's like a couple weird guys in the chat, and I was just thinking about, like, I hope they don't come. They're like, I don't know if you can see, but there's some guys back there, and I was just kind of thinking about, I hope they don't come up to where I am.
Is there that's new. Can I see them? Why can't I see them?
You can kind of see them. It's like the green chat stuff goes around them, and it makes their shape. I don't know.
Oh, I get it. Like camouflage.
I don't know how it works in here.
I think it's camouflage. I think that's what that's called. That's it. That's what else are you thinking about?
How are you doing?
Feeling okay. I've got got a lot of thoughts right now. Just been thinking a lot. And maybe thinking too much. I don't know.
What about that? What was that game that you got on sale?
Dark Souls 2?
Yeah. What about that?
Well,
why don't you talk about that?
So Dark Souls 2, I haven't really been playing it. I haven't really had time. There's been a lot of stuff going on up there, and but I did update that drawing that I showed you a couple weeks back. Can we see the drawing up on the screen there?
You updated it?
Yeah, I updated it. You see anything different?
I don't know. What's that kind of? What's that like gray smudge by the moon under that train? What is that?
It's a cloud that was there last time. There's nothing. That's not it. Come on. There's a very obvious thing here, Alan.
Is it the
train has been there the whole time?
I remember
the clouds,
the train.
The rocks in the water. If you look closely at the rocks in the water, you see there's a little bit of detail there.
Did you add
excellent amount of detail?
Did you add detail?
No, the detail's always been there. I just looking at it, I don't get to see it like this very often. I only get to see it a couple days a month, and it's got these nice little dark shapes underneath the water that are where it's underneath. So it's not just floating on top. It's going to give it to that depth.
Well, I don't know. Is it the gun?
Yeah, it's the gun. You're right. It's that. So remember last time it was the Halo 2 battle rifle, and now it's the M1 Garand or Garand. I never really figured out how to say that out loud.
Okay.
From like those old like World War II shooters. It's like the best rifle that you can have. It's the best. It's hands down the best assault rifle there is. Hands down. And you can spend all day trying to convince me otherwise. But if I'm in a World War II shooter and I see one, I'm dropping whatever I've got. MP40s, anything. Always go with the M1. Always.
Okay, noted.
Yeah.
Back to you, Robby.
Alan?
Yes.
You know that game I made up?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
What's your favorite part?
But my favorite part about the game you made up, it's got to be the characters, hands down.
What's your favorite character?
Well, I like, I think his name is Philip.
Philip?
Yeah, I like Philip. He's that kid. He's always running on rooftops. I think that's kind of fun. He's kind of always like...
You mean this Philip? You mean this Philip right here?
Oh, yeah.
That's him. That's Philip.
That's Philip.
You like Philip?
Yeah, there he is.
Alan, can you explain to me in great detail what you like about Philip?
I like Philip. I like how small he is. I think that's kind of neat. Like if you were to meet a woman and she was like a bigger woman and he's so small, I think that's a fun character quality. He's a little guy and he's got big hands too. He's
mischievous.
Yeah, and I think he's got. I would.
You could probably. What do you think? If you had hands that big? Let me see your hands. Put your hands by your head. Those are big hands for a kid, for sure. Absolutely, 100%.
My hands are Philip's hands.
Philip's hands, Alan. Your hands are very small. What would you? But we're hypothetically, Alan. What would you hold in those big old hands if you had those. Come on.
If I had hands like
come on.
that, I'd
Get the
probably hold
energy
about
up.
like
This is your life, man.
Okay,
This is your
okay,
life.
Okay, if I was Philip and I had big hands,
Yes.
I would hold 3 big pears and an apple, and that's kind of what I would carry around on my day. Is that a good answer?
Would you hold?
What are we doing?
What would you hold? Would you hold? Where does Philip hang out?
He hangs out on
Rooftops. Rooftops. So what do you got to have to get up on those old tops?
A ladder? What are you asking?
Big hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan, what are people in the chat saying about Philip? Come on.
Okay, I'll ask. What about though? They said his hands look swollen.
He's not swollen. Big hands. Strong hands.
Okay.
Those are the hands of someone who's had to grip and pull.
Someone, Moop says that, fun fact, the painting of Philip is actually an adult man. That's a painting of an adult man.
Oh.
Moop said that.
I don't believe.
Someone asked, is it an oil painting? I don't know.
It's an image on the screen. What? Hey, Alan, guess what? Got some more fan art.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me see that.
Yeah, we got some fan art. Let's show you right here. See that? That's beautiful. See that? Right
wow.
there. Yeah, that's
look at that.
It's great, isn't it? It's really this is great. It's got me there. I think that's me, right? With a hat.
Yes.
This hat right here.
Yes.
And there's like the city in the background, and there's what do you got? 7th Guest, 11th Hour. Those are classic adventure games.
I love those
CD-ROM
games.
adventure games. Absolutely.
So cool.
And look here in the middle. You can see in the middle. That's my wife, Katie.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's my wife, and she's eating those cheese fries. She loves the cheese fries.
That's so sweet.
And,
what's going on down there at the bottom?
I don't know. I don't really understand what's going on down there. It looks like this could be like a sad thing that's happening, a sad part of my soul that maybe I haven't really been able to express.
Wait, no. I think that's me. Can I see that again? That's me.
That's you?
Yeah, that's me, and then those are the hats. Because you know how, remember?
Are you sure that, I think that...
Yeah, those are all the hats. You know how I don't wear that hat that you're not wearing? Why?
Well, there's a lot of great details in there. Here's another good one. This is of you and me. This is that was by Shaq, by the way.
Okay.
Shaq, the basketball player. Shaq.
Yeah, I know.
See the name right there.
Great.
He doesn't just dunk; he does it all. You got this is from Mel.
Mel?
Yeah,
I think that's out of focus. There's something wrong.
This has got these great scanline details. This is from
not a drawing.
It's not a drawing. But it's
that's
still
like
art. It's art, Alan. This is
that's
somebody
like a screenshot from the show
expressing
that got
themselves beautifully. And it's got all of these wonderful. This is from a couple of specials ago, but it's still ageless, timeless.
Yeah.
Here's another one. What does that remind you of?
Is that?
Kind of looks like Philip.
Oh yeah. Can I see that again? Oh yeah,
it looks like Philip. If Philip was sad and he was behind a branch, but instead he's happy and in front of a branch. This is the kind of interpretation that this is the kind of imagination that will that inspires and carries you through. This is from Alice. Thank you so much, Alice. You said Moop was in the chat, right?
Yes.
Well, guess what else? Moop sent us in some drawings.
Heck is that
of you as an animal man?
That looks
That's
like
you
me.
as but
I'm an animal.
You're like a cat.
I'm like a what kind of a cat?
You're like a funny cat.
What? Oh, thank you, Moop, for drawing me as a funny cat. That's me.
That's Alan on the chat.
That's me.
And there is your hat. There's no question. I'm not sure about this earlier one from Shaq, but this one from Moop, that's definitely you. That's definitely you there. And there's this one. This is me as a what do you call that?
What is that? I think that's a.
Well, it's look at that.
It's beautiful.
Such detail.
Whatever.
I love the what's around the neckline. I don't know what that is. What do you think of that?
What the hell is that?
Look, it's got some words on it. It says, "I love my games, but I love my best friend Alan more." And that's a draw. That's a
Now-
drawing of you, Alan.
No,
That's me looking at
I
you.
know, no.
The way that I look at you when I'm looking at you out here.
Can you put that back up?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so that's you.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
I
obviously.
can see that's you. It's got your hairline. It's got your jawline.
It's
But
got
then
my earbuds.
you're
in
looking
it
at
too.
someone, but that's not me.
That is you.
What are you talking about?
It's you. It's got some artistic liberties. I'm not going to lie, but that's you. That's you in a headshot right there.
That doesn't look like me.
Yeah, that's you. That's just
No,
you know. I think
Robbie.
what? What's wrong with
How
it?
long have you known me? I have a mustache, yes, but I have a full beard. I have
Well, that's
a
what
beard.
this is.
That's stubble. That's not me.
I think. Speaking of you, Alan, I think let's address this little piece of work.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. That's you. That's you. Sleeping on the job.
No.
That's you sleeping on the job. That's
No.
you getting ready for bed.
That's me with a blanket. That's me with a blanket because it's cold in here. Who drew that?
This is by Whiplash.
Okay.
And the one previous was Quinn. Quinn.
Whiplash.
And Whiplash.
Whiplash.
This is great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Because I'm very cold.
I don't get.
And I would love a blanket. Because it's actually really cold in the chat.
People must be able to see you going to sleep on the job. Because every time I look at you, you look like you're doing your job.
I haven't.
But this is
I
you
haven't
sleeping
been
on the job.
I haven't been sleeping.
Sleeping
I
on the
haven't
job.
been sleeping. I've actually
Alan,
been
guess
freezing
what?
cold. What?
I made a video to build up hype for the game I made up.
What?
I did, and I think it stars Philip. It's about Philip.
Huh. Okay.
What?
You made a video about the game you made up, and
About Philip. It's about Philip, your favorite character. You said you like the characters. You said your favorite character
yes,
was Philip.
I do. I do like Philip, but I just think if you're making a video about the game you made up, you should focus on some of the more like core details, like maybe the main characters or like the game dynamics or like an overview of the game. But like, it's just a very specific thing to focus on for the first video you made about this game you've been talking about forever.
Alan, do you like Philip?
Yes, of course.
All right, well, check it out. Philip is a child who grew up in Gloomsbrook. He spends a lot of time on the rooftops of Gloomsbrook, kind of wandering on his own and discovering things about the inhabitants that he shares these observations with Spawn and Shadowhawk over the course of the game. If something's happening in the town, Philip wants to know about it. He wants to see if he wants to understand it. He wants to be able to communicate about it. Maybe he wants to know the secret reasons behind different situations that might happen. He's curious. To me, that is there's a roof is something that is above most. If you think about the layout of a town, you've got streets, and then you've got walls, and then on top of the walls you have roofs, and the roofs are sort of allow kind of bird's eye view of the life within the town. And if you look back at ancient cultures, you see roofs have all of these different types of meanings. In many ancient cultures, roofs were some place that you would just use to sort of stay dry during the monsoon or heavy rain season. Roofs were places where you put your belongings to keep them safe. In the prehistory times, safe from the large prehistoric birds that would pick up larger objects than birds pick up even today. The roof is a place of solitude for Philip. It's also a place of empowerment. If you can imagine two people talking to it in the street, if you were to see it front on, you might not see that one person has their arm behind them, and in that arm is a knife. And if you're on a rooftop, you can see that knife, and you can anticipate that moment when the knife comes out and stabs and kills. People forget how often children were taken from the inside of the house and put onto the rooftop on the outside of the house in order to kind of keep them safe while the parents had to go and do work in the fields or go to
battle with enemies or to go into a wood shop to carve beautiful, ornate pieces of wood art. Oftentimes the parents would return after doing these jobs and take their children down from the roof. But Philip, to me, was a way to answer the question, what if the child was never taken down from the roof? What if the child just stayed up on the roof? How would that child evolve? How would that change the child? How would that make the life of the child different than a child that was remembered and taken down and put back inside? Philip is a lot of things to a lot of people. I have to say that, I got the idea for Philip when I was walking down the street the other day. I was drinking this really good iced tea, and I walked past a group of kids, and there was one kid, and he had like one of those red hats on that say, that say his name. It's like, sometimes you see a kid named like, I don't know, like a kid named Beck. You see like he has a hat and says Beck on it. So but this was a different name. And the kid in the red hat, he saw me coming by, and he was chewing on something that I couldn't tell what it was. And then he points at me and he goes, "That man doesn't know where he's going." Kids say stuff to me all the time, but no child had ever accused me of not knowing where I was going, and I knew exactly where I was going. I was going to the bus stop to catch a bus. I knew where I was going, but the fact that this kid in a red hat with his name on it had said, "I don't know where I was going," my first thought was, well, you don't know where I'm going, but that doesn't mean that I don't know where I'm going. That's not how it works. That's not how knowledge works. And I really wanted to stop and just take this kid aside and say, listen, the life inside of my head is different than the life inside of your head. And he saw me looking at him, and he said, "Do you know where you're going?" And I said, and I didn't respond because I didn't feel like it was appropriate, because he wasn't my child. I didn't know who he was, but it made me very angry, because here was this little boy on a street corner, surrounded by his friends, and they all were having a great time at my expense, saying that I didn't know where I was going, when I knew perfectly well where I was going. I was going to the bus stop. I was going to catch a bus. They didn't know where they were going. They were just standing there. They might have been waiting for another bus, but they might have been waiting for somebody else to come and meet them, and then that larger group of children could have gone to a park where they would dig holes or build build those like trail markers that you learn how to make in Cub Scouts. The trail markers, or you put the trail markers that you make in Cub Scouts, the ones that help you you tie with string. Anyway, I don't know what these kids were doing. All I knew is that one of them was accusing me of not knowing where I was going, and I found that to be a very stirring, if not somewhat hurtful experience, because it's not often that a child is able to kind of shake me up a little bit like that. That really really freaked me out. And I thought about all the different things that I could have said to the child to make him upset. I could have said something really mean to the child that would have also made me feel really smart and made him maybe question his confrontational attitude towards me. It could have made him be like, oh, well, this guy does know where he's going. He does have a rich inner life, and I shouldn't bother him. I should be focused on making my day-to-day experience better, rather than focused on making someone else's experience harder. And that's where the idea for Philip came from.
Let's go to the phones. Let's see what people are talking about. Alan, are you on the chat right there?
Yeah.
Alan, what are people saying?
Okay, people want to know, does Philip know his parents?
Does Philip know his parents? It's a great question. We're not going to answer that question. We have a lot of secrets that we want to keep about Philip, but that's still a great question. We have a phone call right now. We've got, hello, you're on the air with Electronic Game Information. Did you guys watch the video?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, what'd you think? Did it answer?
I think it answered all the questions that I had, to be honest, about Philip.
About Philip?
I think it was.
Be honest with me. This is an open forum. This isn't a dictatorship. We're gonna you can be honest.
I can be honest?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I think about Philip is that honestly, he's one of the most interesting side characters that I've seen in any game, and I can't wait to see how he develops as a character in the game that you made up.
Well, he's going to develop over time with, and his story is going to develop. You had people asking just a second ago in the chat with what his deal with his parents are. That's going to be something that we do answer. We're not going to answer it here tonight because that's a spoiler.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I can't wait to see how you develop that.
In terms of the structure of the video itself, I think that it's important that we also, pay attention to the fact that people are going to be looking, they're going to be researching this game, they're going to be looking for information about it. Do you think that if you were completely unfamiliar with the show this far and you saw that video, what would it do for you?
I think I would say this guy has ambition. This guy has a vision about what he wants for his game, and he will find the means to do it. And I am interested in the game, and I want to see where it goes. Ambition,
vision. These are strong words. Alan, did you hear that? Ambition and vision.
Ambition and vision.
What are people saying about in the chat?
EINRs writes, does Philip give Spawn and Shadowhawk access to...
Can you spell that again?
EIN and then the word R's with the Z.
The word R's? Like hours?
No, I don't understand it, but they say...
Wait, say it again.
Hello?
EIN...
Hi, you're on the phone with Electronic Game Information?
It was a good question.
This is a fantastic night so far. We've watched this video I spent a lot of time putting a lot of work into. What do you think?
So, well, my name is Lord Tony, and I think it's great. Okay?
Yeah.
But I think... I got an idea, okay? And you might like this. So what if Philip's father is Headless Kern?
What did you just say?
What if Philip's father is Headless Kern?
Hang up. Hang up on him.
That's a you're crossing universes in a way that it's clashing.
But Spawn is in the game too. But
this is set in that universe. This is set in This is set in a specific universe. Okay.
But how come Headless Kern can't exist in this universe?
First of all, Philip has a head.
Right. Well,
and it's on his neck. Okay. Headless Harn carries his head in the crook of his arm, except at key points in a one-on-one or perhaps it's 2-on-2 battle. In Battle Monsters, okay? This isn't. It's like that's about Battle Monsters is about a number of different things. It's 100% not set in 1600s colonial America.
Well, couldn't they just travel in time?
You can't travel in time multiple times. It defeats the entire conceit. All right. There's books on story structure that you can check out from the library that'll explain these things to you. I mean, thank you for your call, but get your, know your trade. Thank you for your call.
I'm very sorry.
Thank you for your call. Alan, what we got in the chat? We were talking about
EINRs.
Is it Ericese? Is it Air Guys?
I don't know.
Like the fighting game from the fighting game with Cloud in it?
It's a really good question. They want to know, does Philip give Spawn and Shadowhawk access to special moves like in Chrono Trigger or Kingdom Hearts 3?
Well, Philip's not in Chrono Trigger or Chrono Trigger or Kingdom Hearts 3. And actually, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 just came out.
Okay.
Hi, you're on the air with Electronic Game Information.
Hello?
We're talking about the video that just came out. I mean, the video we just watched, all about Philip, answering some of the questions that people have about Philip.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering. So I know that the last time you talked about one of the encounters with the the creature in Jasper's basement, I think you said that Philip was just sort of hanging out in the background, right?
Yeah.
Just doing his thing.
What was he doing there?
So he does. What was he doing there? Like, does he know anything like about the creature? Like, I mean, I know he knows a lot of stuff. It's like on the rooftops and stuff, seeing the things that everybody else doesn't see. But
right,
but how did he get
into the basement?
Somehow?
How did he get into a
what's
basement?
Up with Philip?
Yeah, how did a kid? Hey, this is you were asking me this earlier. How did a kid that hangs out on the rooftops? How does he get into a basement? Right?
Yeah, that's the opposite of what he's usually doing.
Exactly.
What's he doing down there?
So the answer to your question is that you know those little boxes that you keep your belongings in a basement?
Yeah.
Well, in 1600s colonial America, I don't. Sometimes they were A-frame, like a roof.
A-frame.
Yeah. So you see where I'm going with this? He can move between roofs.
There.
He's not just jumping over people's heads, but maybe he's moving through space. He's going through. If you think about like an air duct, but without any of the metal. What do they call that?
Venting.
Without the vents.
The vents.
Great question. Thank you for your call.
All right.
Alan?
Yeah.
What did you think of the video?
Oh, that was great. I love the video, Robby. A+ effort. Good job.
Thank you. It's important for me that people understand just as much as possible what I'm trying to say here in this game. You know, it seems like people are getting it. They're really getting it.
Absolutely. I wish you would explain a bit more about the combat. I think that's something on people's mind. You often start talking about game dynamics and like the combat, and then you just say get into what the characters are saying, and right. I think people want to know more about like what it's like to play the game.
Okay, well, I made another video.
Really?
Yeah. And,
wow.
And this one's not about a character.
Is it about
No. It's about Gloomsbrook. We're gonna watch it, Alan. We're gonna watch another video. It's about Gloomsbrook.
Robby,
this is the second developer diary that we are releasing for this game.
So exciting!
It's very exciting. We're trying to build up the hype. We're trying to build up momentum.
Can I come watch it with you?
What?
Can I come watch it with you?
I need you in the chat, Alan. I need you in the chat.
Okay. I'm cold. It's cold in here, and it's starting to smell kind of crazy in here, and I want to go into the studio. If I could go into the studio area with you, Alan, I think that would be fun for both of us, and we could like hang out. Maybe I think I could bring. You get snacks.
You could have. You're. I need you in the chat, okay? I need you there. We can't do the show as we set out to do it without you in the chat.
I'm happy to be in the chat. I'm starting to get really cold. I've been cold, and I just really want to warm up. And I just think if I warmed up, it would help me do a better job.
Alan, I think you're. It's like temperature is one of those things that it's just all. It's in the eye of the beholder.
No.
And I think you're in a space. You're in a very special space that I think a lot of people would really appreciate being in. And I think you need to just look inside of yourself and see that there's a way of existing there, and not, you've been kind of complaining a lot, and I just want you to appreciate the opportunity that we both have. It's not just your opportunity; this is my opportunity.
I'm sorry,
and this is just the way. You don't need to apologize. Don't apologize to me.
I do feel like I need to apologize because I have been being rude, but one of the reasons I've been being rude is because I just don't feel good because I'm cold.
Okay, well, we're going to watch the video about Gloomsbrook, Alan. Are you excited about the video about Gloomsbrook?
Yes, I'm excited about the video about Gloomsbrook.
You're going to pay attention to what people are saying about the video when we play it, and you're going to be okay. We're both going to be fine. Look, you're cold in there. I'm warm as warm can be in here. If you could see a close-up of my head, you'd see beads of sweat.
If you're warm, you should come in here and get cold because I'm cold. I can go in there and be warm. Does that make sense?
Well, we can talk about that another time. We got a video to watch. Let's cue the video, and you guys take a look.
Gloomsbrook is where the game begins. If you have an open world game, the initial area that you explore needs to be able to communicate the basic mechanics of the game that you are about to spend a lot of time playing. So to me, the idea of letting Spawn and Shadowhawk just sort of wander around in the open world kind of didn't seem nearly as interesting as having them be trapped in this space that forces them to go through different tutorials for several hours. And I think that is an important part of any adventure game, is making sure that people know the intricacies of all the different systems as clearly as frankly as possible. A lot of games these days are like, oh, well, we've done away with how to play this game, or there's no tutorials, we just sort of like make the player figure it out. And I find that to be very condescending. I mean, people say that they understand things, but they don't. And I think that's just a general observation of the culture that we live in today, is that people are like, I understand this. And it's like, you don't understand this. The larger picture is being missed because someone hasn't sat you down and sort of laid out every option for you as clearly as possible. I mean, you can't say that you understand anything because you don't understand anything. And the idea that you do understand anything without like basically like those explicit moments, I think is a very I don't think people understand. I think people are willing to say just about anything to get out of a little bit of light reading. And Gloomsbrook to me is a place of, it's not a place of challenges, it's a place of opportunities to learn. And people want to learn. I mean, your brain starts dying at 21, It's like your brain grows and grows and grows, and then at 21 it dies and dies and dies. So the idea that you would sort of like, obviously a 21-year-old could play this game. They could play this game, but I mean, we're thinking more of like the sort of late 20s to mid 30s audience for it. And those people's brains are dying. And so they need to learn. They need to learn more things, because the more that you learn, the more that your brain is active, the less likely you are to suffer as you age. So you have to keep your brain active. And one of the things that you do to make your brain stay active as you age is you learn new things, and you learn things well. If you try to skip a 45-minute tutorial on melee combat versus projectile combat, you're not going to go anywhere in this game. People will be able to take that knowledge and put it into, it's not like these things are going to be silos where like each one is walled off from the each thing is walled off from the next. Each of these things communicate with the other thing, and it's almost like you have instead of if you think of just Gloomsbrook as a town, this is a town with walls and rooms and houses and buildings and streets and dungeons, but it's also a place there's constant flows of information. There's things that are happening that affect one thing, there's something else happens and another thing is changed. When you extrapolate that and you get into what each one of those moments are, or each one of these little significant points, how they relate to the next significant point, or the point before it, or the point in front of it, or the point behind it, you're talking about a web of information that is dense and varied and detailed, that can't fully be appreciated unless you put the time and effort into doing it. This isn't a game that's going to be fun to play. This is a game that is going to challenge your ability to absorb information and to communicate that information to the people around you. That's the people that are in the game, that's the people that are outside of the game. People will want to know what you're spending your time on, and if you can't explain that to people, if you can't explain how you spend your time in a game that stars Spawn and Shadowhawk in 1600s colonial America, you are going to get a lot of people who think that they know you, that they know what is happening to you. They don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about the richness of your internal life. They don't know about the thoughts that you share with they know about the thoughts that you share with them, but they don't know about the thoughts that you refused to share with anybody. There are things that are inside of your head that stay with you and that you keep just for yourself. And that's what this game is about. It's about the difference between the internal sort of machinations of systems and how they communicate with the outside world versus how they work when they are completely compartmentalized and kept from people, when they are kept inside and buried and are inscrutable.
Alan?
Yeah, Robby.
What are people saying in the chat? Come on.
Okay. Taco Belly.
I'm shaking here.
Taco Belly asks, what is Gloomsbrook's main export? That's a pretty good question.
What's Gloomsbrook's main export? Well, it's mostly an agrarian community. Their main export would probably be things like tobacco. That was something that was very commonly exported. Alan, I can't really concentrate when you're coughing, so if you need to do that, just move away from the microphone.
Got it.
The main export is probably tobacco, okay. and maybe some. Also, there's some contraband. They're sending magical items that they're not supposed to because of the Christian Puritanism. Is there another question? Come on.
Can you ask Robby if the game will have cubbies for the wagon?
Yeah, sure, cubbies for the wagon. Yeah, all right. Obviously, you can call them cubbies. You can call them shelves or cabinets. It's all the same thing. I looked it up. It's all in the thesaurus. Hi, you're on the air with Electronic Game Information. We're talking about the game I made up. Just showed a couple of developer diaries, trying to build up hype, trying to build up some steam behind this thing. And what'd you think?
I thought it was all right. One thing I didn't get answered is this a 2D game or a 3D game?
This is a 3D game, obviously. You can't have there's nothing. What are you going to describe? How are you going to describe all of these things? You have to have three dimensions. You're going to have So everybody's talking about this thing with Dragon Quest XI. You can switch between having like a 3D view and like a kind of 16-bit view. I assume that you're interested in these kinds of things, and that's great. That's fine because you're obviously it's for the Switch, so it's got to be something that saves battery life if you want to play Dragon Quest XI on the go. But with this game, we're not focused. We're sort of more focused on the hardcore PC audience. We're talking about your people that are going to buy a new PC when Cyberpunk comes out, the Witcher 3 people. That's what we're talking about.
Okay. But do you think the Witcher 3 people would want to read so much text?
Yes. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Is that there's not a lot of examples of games that force you to read. It's like it's like when in school when you're supposed to. Like you're about to take a test and you have a bunch of materials that you're supposed to look at. What is that called?
I mean, studying?
Yeah. So there's not a lot of games that make you do that. And I think that that's one of the things that's really going to kind of put this in its own separate category, at least at the outset.
Okay. So so I'm playing my homework.
Yeah. I mean, yes. And what does your homework do for you? It helps grow.
I mean, it helps you.
You learn how to learn. You learn how to learn. It grows your brain. How old are you?
I'm 35.
Okay, so you're already on the way out. So we need to figure out. You have to spend that extra time with you with your mind. This is for you. This is a game that is made for people just like you. For 35-year-olds
who know how they learn but need to learn how to learn better
and more.
I see.
And also about Spawn and Shadowhawk.
Okay, which is good because I know a decent amount about Spawn, but I'd never heard of Shadowhawk.
How is that even possible? You're 35 years old. You're talking to me about video games.
Mm-hmm.
You know all about Spawn. You know nothing about Jim Valentino's Shadowhawk.
No, I didn't get raised right.
He refuses to kill. Okay. But he breaks men's spines.
And that doesn't kill them?
No, it paralyzes them from the waist down.
Oh,
This was a superhero that, didn't play by the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Robbie, Early asks, is it cold in Gloomsbrook? Is Gloomsbrook a good place or a bad place to live?
It's a wonderful place. Okay, can you type something into the chat for me?
Yes.
Ask them where they live.
Ask Early, where do you
Because there's ways that I could explain this at length, or they could just answer this question.
I asked.
Okay, are other people answering for them?
They said, they're not answering. Hello.
Okay, well, the answer is Gloomsbrook is cold in the winter and warm in the summer. All right?
It's just like normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have any? We got some calls coming in? Okay. Alan?
Yeah.
I'm hearing that you've got something going on in your area.
I am. Guess who showed up in the chat? Wow, it's Banjo.
Yes, it is I.
What the hell are you doing in the chat? I've been alone for like weeks in the chat, and I Banjo.
Yeah, I hope you warm up, buddy.
That's Banjo.
Yeah, I mean some of it's the cold. I think some of it's the isolation.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I could be here as a friend for you.
I'm so happy to see you.
Oh
my God! Banjo. How's Banjo doing?
Oh, I'm in over my head.
Banjo, don't leave.
You're looking good, Banjo.
Oh.
So happy to see you, man.
Where
you been all these years?
Banjo, where's Kazooie?
Yes. It's in my backpack.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. I'm so excited to see you. I'm so excited to see you.
You know, you just feel bad all day, and something like this happens. You got Banjo right here in the chat. We're having just a hell of a time.
I'm so glad
we're having a hell of a time
in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to come into the studio, but then I would have
for both of us. We're having a very fun time.
I would have missed Banjo.
He's saying Kazooie's in that backpack.
Yeah.
Don't bring him out.
I'm not articulated enough to do that right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay, right. Banjo. Why?
Do what's comfortable for you, Banjo.
Banjo Kazooie.
We're all rooting
Banjo.
For you. You're gonna come back.
What?
Yeah.
Why do I think that
I'm gonna
you're
come
Crash
back and
Bandicoot?
I'm gonna come back and it's gonna be great. It's really gonna be like the collect-a-thon we were dreaming about.
This is so cool. What's your favorite egg color?
Favorite egg color?
Yeah.
Blue.
So cool. Robbie, you want to ask a question to Banjo?
Banjo, I gotta ask you one final question. That Banjo flying game. What was going through your head?
Well, I mean, I wanted to take a risk. I wanted to try to diversify.
That's
but I think maybe I stepped a little out of my bounds.
It's nobody's faulting you for it. It was a fantastic chance. You got to take chances in life. Life can't be boring, and you know this better than anybody else.
Feel me on this.
I'm so happy that you decided to stop by, Alan. If this doesn't warm you up, I don't know what will.
But I feel warmer in my heart because I'm so blessed to be hanging out with Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts and Bolts, or whatever it's called. Thank you for stopping by, Banjo.
Thank you, Banjo. Thank you so much.
It was great to be here, Alan. Thank you for having me.
I love you.
I was here too, Banjo, but that's okay. You got a busy life. I know how it is. I can't believe Banjo was there. Alan, how are you feeling?
How cool was that?
That was amazing.
Banjo.
He was Banjo-Kazooie.
I feel like, I'm lightheaded. I'm like starstruck. I gotta lie down.
Alan, you know what time it is, don't you? It's time for the list.
Oh, okay.
Tonight we got a very special list. We've got a list of items that you can find in the game that I made up. We're taking your calls. We're looking at the chat. If you've got some items that have been on your mind that aren't on the list that I'm reading out, let's talk about them. Let's put them on the list if they should be on the list, and let's take them out if they don't fit in. All right, so let's top right off the top. You got this is items. This is items or objects or artifacts that are in the game that I made up. We've got the small mirror. Small hand-sized mirror. You can fit your hand in the mirror, hand and touch different dimensions. We've got a river crossing, ferry. We got a ferry. It's a river, and you cross the river in a ferry, or it's shuttle. I can't remember. We got one of those. That's an object that you find in the game. You have to get across rivers. We're talking about New England. If anybody out there in the world, in the chat, if you're from New England, we got rivers. If you're from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, you've got them there too. You got to get across those somehow. This is before we had those big, beautiful bridges, concrete bridges. You had to have the ferry or the shuttle, and in addition to that, you had to have the long stick that you plunged into the river water and you pushed yourself through across to the other side. Alan, what are people saying in the chat?
People want to add a rake to the list. They want,
there's not necessary.
Okay, they want to add a crossbow with fire stakes.
A crossbow with fire stakes is a great idea. I think that we could add those crossbows to Shadowhawk's gauntlets.
Okay.
Because Shadowhawk already has some great melee attacks that he can do with the claws and the hands and the gauntlets, and if he could also get some slight range attack with the with the crossbows, that would be something. And those are on fire, Alan. That's what I was hearing. The fire on the list.
One wanted fire, one wanted poison.
Okay, poison.
They want
that's
fingerless gloves on the list.
People don't use those poison arrows as much as they used to. Arrows or crossbow bolts. They don't use them as much as they should. But those are a great way if you're trying to get if you're trying to take your enemy down early on. If I'm in a game and I have one of those crossbow bolt or arrow poison dagger and I shoot it or take it and it drops their health over time, and that's a valuable thing. If you're going to have a long battle, you can start off on top.
Very cool.
Alan, we got another thing on the list. We got plates.
Ooh.
We got decorative plates, different decorative plates of different sizes. These are things that are going to be able to collect. We had Banjo earlier, and Banjo knows all about the collecting things, the musical notes and what have you. And we're going to talk about plates because we're going to have one of those situations where a character in the game is going to let you get the plates, take them to the plates. You can sell them you can sell them individual plates and get a little bit of money for that, or you can sell them a set of plates and get extra money, and it's a multiplier. So you get different more multipliers, more plates.
They want to put salves on the list.
Salves?
Yeah, like a medical salve.
Like a medical salve. We're gonna have to. You're gonna have to, Alan. You're the medical expert, so you're gonna have to go online and figure out if the salves existed in that time period. Because I think that we definitely have some bandages. They definitely used more homeopathic remedies, the Band-Aids and hard alcohol for to burn and it stings. What do you call it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your antiseptics.
Oh.
Okay, so we got antiseptics. We also got the sword from No More Heroes, and we also got the sword from Magic Sword. It's Capcom's Magic Sword. Great arcade action game, multiplayer, different levels. Alan, what are people saying? What they want to see?
They want boots that give you dash.
All right, dash boots. We got a dash boots. We got to go. Now this is a question that always comes up because people are always trying to put dash boots in just about everything. Just about everything they can put a dash boot into. They put the dash boot in, and there's two different things. You can have the dash boots that are just going to make you fast. It's just going to pick you up speed, right?
Right.
Just pick you up, and then you've got the ones that where you have to charge up a little bit, and then you run, and then you run and you hit a wall and you go through it or you don't. We got phone calls. We got people on the call. People want to call in, give me some lists, give me some items to put on the list. We got some others right here. We got Philip's gloves. We got Philip. We know that Philip has hands. He's got those callous hands of a man that used to pull himself up into those roofs. He didn't always have the hands like that. He used to have gloves, and you got to find those gloves. You got to bring them back to Philip. He's going to use those to smooth his hands back down.
Robbie.
Yes.
What about like a pill that like Spawn can take? It'll make them really small.
Was that your idea, or was that something in the chat?
That was just my own idea for an item on the list.
We're trying to get a
could you imagine how funny it would be if Spawn was small?
Spawn
and
is
his girlfriend.
He's a big man. He's a big man. He's been through a lot. I wish we have a phone call. I'd like to get to that, but let's take your mind, put it away from the small Spawn idea. It's not going to fit.
Okay,
it's not going to go on the list.
Not on the list.
You're on the air with Electronic Game Information. Hi. Thank you for your call.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I think you need to add in collectible journal pages from Philip that let you fill up his backstory and maybe find hidden power-up items.
Okay, can you say that entire thing again, but just say each word a little bit slow? I'm having a little bit of problem hearing you. We had a bit of a banjo showed up.
I saw that,
and it was. You
were marking out a little bit.
It kind of. I mean, we're happy, obviously, but it threw us a little bit out of whack. So
Remember
now we're making it back. So Alan, you're having.
I can start too.
You're gonna get me going. You start going. I'll start going. It's not gonna. We're not gonna go anywhere. We still got the list.
All right. Okay.
So say everything you had said to me earlier, but slow it down by 50%.
Sure. Collectible journal pages from Philip that fill in his backstory and hopefully maybe get you a power-up item in the end.
Collectible journal pages. Now, where have we seen stuff like that before?
A lot of different games.
A lot of different games. Think about it in your head. Where's the first place that really jumps out to you? Myst. That's the first one. Not Resident Evil. Not Resident Evil. Itchy Tasty.
That was the first one I was serious in. Yeah.
All right, so we got collectible journal pages that's going to go on the list. Thank you for your call. We got another caller on the air. Hi, you're on the air with Electronic Game Information. We're talking about items found in the game I made up on the list. We got we've got some stuff that input. We got collectible journal pages, and we have a river crossing stick. We have a ferry. So, is there a river in your? Where are you from?
Well, in my hometown, there's a river. There was a river about 5 minutes from my house in California.
A California river, big rivers or little rivers?
Big river is the Sacramento River.
So you got a Sacramento River. You probably got one of those nice causeway concrete bridges that goes across it.
Probably.
Okay, so if in the old times, if you imagine like the gold rush when people were coming out west for the first time in the 1860s, or people, who I'm talking about, the European settlers that were essentially causing all the trouble, but it was a problematic time is what I'm trying to say, but they got across the river because they put the stick in the water, they pushed themselves over with the ferry.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That's cool.
There was no other way to get across unless you swam.
Mm-hmm.
So what is there anything on here that you feel like that we're missing?
Not for the river. I wanted to suggest that you could get different kinds of familiars that could help you in different ways.
Kinds of familiars, like your personas kind of thing.
Maybe something kind of close to that.
Well, all right. Well, that sounds great. That's going to be on the list. We got familiars. We got collectible story pages. Alan, you got anything else?
Yeah, they want a fishing lure, toilet paper, and typewriter ribbon.
Okay, I'm going to add one last thing, and that thing is $10. Just $10. $10 that you can spend on what you can spend it however you want. Thank you so much. That was the list. I hope that you are taking some time for yourself and protecting yourself. And when I say protecting yourself, I obviously want you to protect your physical self, but it's very important you also protect what's inside of here, because what's inside of here is so precious. It's all of these different things. It's all of these different thoughts and feelings and impulses and reactions that carry you through life, that bring you great success, that also bring you great failures. But it's all in here, and it has to be protected at all costs. Ask yourselves this March, this Game Developers Conference, what you're doing to protect what's inside. All of the aspects of you that are just hidden away in this big round thing that we have on top of our necks. The mind is a deep and wide ocean filled with thoughts and miracles and beliefs and sadness, but it is the most important thing that we have. I hope that you are all protecting your minds and that you're staying safe. Stay safe. And that was our coverage of Game Developers Conference 2019 this Thursday evening. Come back again next week. We are going to be doing our wrap-up coverage of the Game Developers Conference, everything that happened this March, and with regards to the conference and with regards to all the information that made it out into the world as a result of the conference. Please send any art that the show has inspired. Please send it to our email account, electronicgameinformation@gmail.com. Thank you so much to Banjo-Kazooie, or Banjo, not Banjo and Kazooie, but just Banjo. Kazooie, I guess, didn't feel like making his big appearance on the show, but we'll have them back again. Hopefully, another platformer starring those two will come out. Alan, do you have anything you'd like to add at the end?
I just want to say thank you to the Banjo for visiting me. It was so good to see Banjo. It's really dark in here now.
All right. Good night, Alan.
Good night, Robbie.
See you next week.